Dazed and Confused is a coming-of-age film about rituals, about rites of passage, and about the customs of teenagers. We get older, they stay the same age. Richard Linklater's film is partly devoted to nostalgia, but seems to want to dedicate itself to the ongoing wow that is happening right now. The ceremonies of teenagers remain the same, more or less unchanged. Dazed and Confused is about the stoner liturgy of the eternal teen. I think it's a remarkable film. It boasts a star-studded who's who of future superstars and iconic indie darlings. The performances that I find the most riveting are those by Adam Goldberg and Parker Posey. Goldberg's Mike Newhouse is probably the film's most compelling character. Neurotic, hypersensitive, and excessively analytical. Mike is so desperate to feel something visceral that he attacks Clint Bruno, marvelously portrayed by the criminally underrated actor Nicky Katt. He attacks him to defend some sense of masculine and social honor that the self-described misanthrope Mike didn't even know he possessed. Goldberg's performance in Dazed and Confused was conflicted and felt genuine. I've always loved him in the role. Parker Posey is a delight. She's a forever crush of mine. I love her to death. More than words can say. Every film that she appears in is made better simply by her involvement. She's an electric performer, and her turn as Darla in the film was bitchy and funny and aggravating, and I loved all of it. Parker Posey was brilliant here, and possibly has my favorite line in the movie when she's yelling at some of the freshman girls, and she's like something along the lines of, "What are you looking at? Wipe that face off your head, you stupid bitch." It's something like that, and only Parker Posey can pull it off. Yeah, she's an indie queen forever. I love her. Linklater's film certainly owes a great deal to George Lucas and his masterful teen film, American Graffiti. Dazed and Confused outwardly lacks some of the more cinematic and philosophical components of American Graffiti, but this is deliberately and by design. The film itself is a moving documentary of the ritualistic practices of high schoolers. We see a fight. We see Ben Affleck obsessively hunt down freshmen so he can beat them with a wooden paddle. But where the film is at its most heightened or compositionally compelling and revealing are scenes that feel understated. Scenes like the one where Matthew McConaughey and Jason London lead freshman Wiley Wiggins into the Emporium, showing him for the first time his new place of worship, where the believers congregate, and where he will be spending much of his time in the following 4 years. Dazed and Confused derives its power from what most teen films would carelessly trivialize. The power of the film lies in the doldrums of the teenage experience, driving around and smoking and driving around and drinking and driving around and smoking more and talking and the occasional visceral moment. Dazed and Confused is about honoring the rituals of teenagers. One of the most important rituals teenagers perform are acts of rebellion. Acts of rebellion that can come across as pointless, but to teenagers feel and are massive in their significance. Jason London's Randall Pink Floyd refusing to sign a document given to him by his football coach, pledging that he won't do drugs or associate with undesirable characters, was a massive moment, and truly the film's cathartic climax. By refusing to pledge his allegiance to conformity, he has chosen a side. A line in the sand had been drawn by the authority figures of his life, and he decided to take a stand against them by embracing the misfits, the stoners, and the no-hopers, the stoner liturgy of the eternal teen. Randall Pink Floyd chose authenticity, freedom, youthfulness, and rebellion. He chose teenage confusion over conformist clarity. And that is possibly the most beautifully emotional gesture made by the film. Linklater's composition is quite good. I find the visual storytelling of the piece both pressing and patient, which I believe is an interestingly filmic way to express the conflicting tension of energy ever present within the teenage experience itself. It's a film that has achieved not simply a cult status, but a legendary one too. It's one of the most beloved teen movies ever made, and it's an endlessly charming picture. I believe Richard Linklater operates best when his characters aren't droning on endlessly about entry-level existentialist philosophy. What makes Dazed and Confused such an elegant, excellent, and extraordinary film to watch is that, unlike in Linklater's other works like the Before trilogy, Waking Life, and Slacker, where the film's themes and points of interest are dramatically overstated, Dazed and Confused packs all of Linklater's juvenile philosophy into the moods of his characters and the atmosphere of his compositions. The film's intentions and purposes are cleverly felt through the vibes of the film itself via its tie-dye viscera. Mike Newhouse longed for a visceral experience, and Dazed and Confused is possibly the most instinctive teen film ever made. You feel its power by instinct, by observing how the film behaves. This is the only time Linklater has ever been truly masterful. It's a film that's very easy to love. It's basically the definition of lovable. It's a miraculously dynamic film. It's anthemic. Its soundtrack comprised of bona fide anthems. A first kiss, a hymn, a coughing fit after a bong hit, a chant. Teenage rituals as songs, nostalgia at the drive-in, a chorus of hopeful young people, a harmony of the dazed and confused.